Many WNBA fans are calling out the referee problem.
The referees literally turned their back.
Caitlin Clark appears to be hunted every game. She deals with physicality that no other player in the league is dealing with. The WNBA not stepping in to protect their cash cow, their only draw, their only star, and this is the end result.
They said she'd transform the game. They sold her as the spark of a new era. But no one mentioned the league might fight back. In just a handful of games, Caitlin Clark's rise from the WNBA's golden girl to its most targeted player has been nothing short of jarring.
It's shocking.
Caitlin Clark will be sidelined for at least 2 weeks
with a quad injury.
Bullets has emerged. How Caitlin Clark got hurt.
He fouls her for the 4th time. It's cheating.
Caitlin Clark is the driving force behind the interest in the Fever and the interest in the WNBA.
Rookie Caitlin Clark was subject to several intentional fouls.
And it wasn't just the opposing teams. This wasn't some typical rookie learning curve. What played out felt far more intentional and far more threatening.
After every single game, WNBA players, fans, coaches are all complaining about the referees, and they have shown that they're not going to change anything because the referees continue to be horrible.
Game after game, Caitlin absorbed the blows, knocked down, roughed up, and forced to battle through a storm of silence from the officials. The referees, tasked with keeping the game honest, looked more like bystanders in a poorly scripted scene. What began as scattered oversights soon morphed into a full-blown crisis of neglect, with obvious fouls ignored as Clark repeatedly crashed to the floor.
Felines head coach Stephanie White, she was complaining about her team not getting a whistle, not being respected.
Then came the moment everyone feared. Caitlin, benched with a quad injury. And just like that, fans began rewinding the tape. Every uncalled foul, every punishing hit that slipped by, every desperate look she shot at the refs, pleading for a whistle that never came.
She will be out for 2 weeks minimum following a quad strain.
Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham going to the officials and trying to, ask for an explanation of what had just occurred. That official completely stonewalled them.
It stopped looking like chance. It started looking like a plan. And just as the uproar hit full volume, boom, new reports dropped, exposing the cracks in an officiating system more broken than anyone dared to admit.
This is a WNBA problem, and as more and more eyeballs are watching this league, it becomes growingly an issue. The officiating feels you never have a true grasp.
Turns out, a surprising number of the league's referees came straight from high school courts. And they're not even making calls based on instinct or experience. Instead, there's a hidden council, GMs, coaches, league insiders, quietly steering how rough the game should get, leaving officials to follow orders instead of the rule book.
The referees are not listening to them. They're not listening to the coaches. They're not listening to the players. They're not listening to the fans. They're listening to their stakeholders. That's why I keep saying nothing is going to change till the mindset and whoever's running all of this, the stakeholders, governance, whoever these people are.
And Caitlin Clark? She's trapped right at the center of a storm where power, pride, and profit all crash together. Now, after weeks of mounting fury, viral clips lighting up every feed, and even insiders breaking their silence, the WNBA is finally starting to sweat.
If this injury does anything, it should be a wake-up call to the WNBA, the Players Association, the team owners, that just like that, all this fanfare, all this interest, all this newfound attention on the league can disappear overnight.
With whispers of lawsuits and rumors swirling about referee bias, the league's golden star could quickly turn into its greatest risk, unless they move fast. And here's the million-dollar question. How far will they go to silence the very player they've been profiting from since day one?
Caitlin Clark is being roughed up, but the physical wear and tear on Caitlin Clark, I'm not surprised that 2 weeks into the season, she's already got an injury.
Caitlin Clark has never been one to shy away from a challenge. At Iowa, she shattered records, drew in millions of fans, and transformed women's basketball into must-watch prime time. So when she entered the WNBA, The anticipation was electric, not just for her play, but for the surge of energy she promised to bring to a league desperate for a breakthrough.
2024 was a year of unprecedented growth in viewership in the WNBA, a substantial amount of which can be attributed to Caitlin Clark, who took the basketball world by storm after an all-time college career.
Who had appeared in 185 consecutive games between her career at Iowa and her time with the Indiana Fever. 139 games with the Iowa Hawkeyes. She never missed one.
And for a moment, it felt like everything was clicking. Crowds swelled, TV numbers soared to new heights. But rather than welcoming her with open arms, the league greeted Clark with elbows, cold shoulders, and outright hostility from the very start.
Caitlin Clark, somebody who was responsible for 26.5 of all WNBA economic activity last season, including revenue from merchandise, ticket sales, and television.
Caitlin Clark out at least 2 weeks waited, but can the WNBA maintain without her? Can the WNBA pack arenas draw ratings?
From the instant she stepped onto the pro court, it became clear this was more than just a game. It was personal. Every matchup turned into a battle zone. Defenders weren't merely guarding her, they were throwing elbows like it was UFC night. She faced relentless full-court pressure, off-ball grabs, and hits that belonged on a rugby field, not a basketball court. And the refs? Nowhere in sight. Fouls that would have drawn whistles for any other star were shrugged off when it came to Clark. Time after time, she had no choice but to grit her teeth and power through.
The referees just exposed their hand so bad, bro. I mean, they just didn't care no more. They didn't care. The world was watching how bad the cause was. They didn't care at all. They was going to get their issue off against the Fever no matter what. And I'm here to tell you, that's exactly what went down, bro. They have an agenda against Caitlin Clark.
All the while, the league pushed the same worn-out excuse. She just needs to adjust. But why is the burden always on her to change? Why is Caitlin Clark the only star expected to toughen up while others are shielded like royalty? Then came the injury. After grinding through monster minutes night after night, sometimes over 35, Caitlin was sidelined with a left quad strain, out for at least 2 weeks.
Basically said the reason that people are complaining is because they haven't watched the WNBA before, and these are just new fans who don't understand. But there's clearly an issue.
It wasn't just a setback, it was a gut punch to Indiana Fever and a huge blow to the entire WNBA. For countless fans, it didn't feel like a random injury. It felt like the cost of neglect, the inevitable fallout from a season of unchecked aggression and a league that failed to protect the one player keeping the spotlight burning bright.
Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark has suffered a left quadricep strain and will be out for a minimum of 2 weeks.
This wasn't some cruel twist of fate. It was a disaster waiting to happen, one that could have been avoided. What made it hurt even more? The deafening silence. The league stayed quiet, never acknowledging the relentless beatings Caitlin Clark had been forced to endure.
It's the Caitlin Clark disrespect. And what I mean by that is you've got somebody who is obviously the most popular player in basketball. You got somebody that I would argue may be a top 5 most popular athlete in the United States of America. All right. You got this athlete in a league that nobody's been watching, never turned a profit, and your system is broken against that team?
No statements, no apologies, just another name on the injury list. But this wasn't just any name. This was the face of the WNBA's new era, sidelined not because she couldn't handle the pressure, but because the very system designed to protect her turned its back instead.
The veteran point guard, Tony Anderson, without her free agency, this is a perfect opportunity now for Bailey Champlin as young point guard.
The 2025 WNBA draft was meant to be a night of celebration, a spotlight moment where rising stars took their place in the league's future. But instead of a smooth coronation of new talent, the night veered into chaos. Hailey Van Lith, a fiery and confident guard fresh off a strong college run, didn't just show up. She made an entrance and then took a stunning swipe at Caitlin Clark, the reigning face of women's basketball. What followed wasn't just drama, it was a full-blown spectacle that stunned fans, analysts, and players alike. And the wildest part, it wasn't just a bold statement, it was a careering misstep that humbled Van Lith before she ever stepped on a WNBA court. Imagine being at the Shed in Hudson Yards, New York City, buzzing with excitement. The 2025 draft was a big deal. Riding the wave of a record-breaking year for the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever superstar, had transformed the league in her rookie season, drawing massive crowds, spiking TV ratings, and landing lucrative broadcast deals. Her long-range shooting and playmaking had fans comparing her to NBA legends, and her impact was undeniable. The draft, featuring names like Paige Buchers and Van Lith, was poised to build on that momentum. But what happens next will leave you speechless. Van Lith, drafted 11th overall by the Chicago Sky, had a story that resonated with many. She'd fought her way through a nomadic college career, playing at Louisville, LSU, and TCU. Known for her grit and relentless energy, she was a player who thrived on proving doubters wrong. Her reunion with Angel Reese, her former LSU teammate, was a draft highlight, promising a dynamic duo in Chicago. But Van Lith wasn't content to just soak in the moment. She had a score to settle, rooted in a college rivalry with Clark that dated back to 2023. In that NCAA Elite 8 game, Clark torched LSU for 41 points, leaving Van Lith and her teammates in the dust. The image of Clark's "you can't see me" gesture became a viral taunt, and Van Lith hadn't forgotten. And this is where things go completely off the rails. During a pre-draft segment, Van Lith was thrown a playful question: start, bench, or cut 3 WNBA stars, Diana Taurasi, Sabrina Ionescu, and Caitlin Clark. It was meant to be a fun icebreaker, but Van Lith saw an opportunity. With cameras rolling and the crowd hanging on her every word, she chose to start Taurasi, bench Ionescu, and cut Clark. The arena fell silent for a split second before erupting in murmurs. Social media lit up like a wildfire. Fans couldn't believe she'd gone after the league's biggest star so brazenly. But here's what they're not telling you: Van Lith wasn't done yet. In her post-selection interview, Van Lith doubled down. She didn't mention Clark by name, but her words cut deep. She talked about grinding her way to the pros, implying some players had been handed fame on a silver platter. The jab was clear. Clark, the media darling, was her target. It was a bold move, one that screamed confidence but reeked of miscalculation. Van Lith thought she was crafting an underdog narrative, but she just poked the bear, and you'll never guess how it ends. The backlash was immediate and relentless, with fans tearing into Van Lith's comments as bitter and unnecessary. They flooded the internet with stats comparing her college career to Clark's. Van Lith's numbers were solid, nearly 20 points a game at Louisville, 18 at TCU. But Clark's were otherworldly. She'd rewritten the NCAA record books, becoming the all-time leading scorer while leading Iowa to back-to-back national championship games. Her stat lines looked like they belonged in a video game, and her impact went beyond the court, selling out arenas and boosting the WNBA's profile. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the WNBA community piled on. ESPN analysts were floored. One called Van Lith's comments envy dressed up as confidence. Another pointed out the irony. Clark's rise had made the 2025 draft the second most watched in WNBA history. With 1.25 million viewers tuning in, by shading the player who'd put the league on the map, Van Lith wasn't just starting a rivalry, she was alienating the very fans and players she'd need to succeed. Even current WNBA stars took notice, with some quietly unfollowing Van Lith on social media. The message was clear: you don't come for the queen unless you're ready to back it up. But what happens next is truly insane. The real gut punch came from Clark herself, though not in the way you'd expect. While Van Lith's words were dissected online, Clark stayed silent. No tweets, no interviews, no petty clapbacks. Instead, she let a single moment speak for her. A cold, knowing smile caught on camera as Van Lith threw her shade. It was the same look Clark had worn in college when opponents tried to get under her skin. right before she buried them with a deep 3. Days later, she was spotted at a youth basketball camp, coaching kids and signing jerseys for hours. The contrast was stark. Van Lith was chasing clout while Clark was building a legacy. And here's where everything changes. Just weeks after the draft, Clark made headlines by stepping onto the court during a Pacers game to toss out merch, stealing the spotlight in the process. No other rookie had ever drawn this much attention. In a preseason matchup, she reminded everyone why she's the league's biggest attraction, dropping 28 points, handing out 8 assists, and pulling down 5 rebounds. She hit deep threes and ran the offense like a veteran. Meanwhile, the cameras caught Van Lith still in warm-ups, waiting for her moment. Social media erupted, flooding timelines with memes of Clark cooking while Van Lith looked on from the bench. The numbers told the story. Clark's rookie season was historic, with records for most points by a rookie guard, most assists by a rookie, and the first ever rookie triple-doubles in WNBA history. She was named Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month in the same month, a first in league history. Van Lith, meanwhile, had yet to log a single professional minute. Stick around because this next part is huge. The WNBA community didn't hold back. An anonymous player reportedly said, "You earn your place with buckets, not by running your mouth on draft night." A veteran praised Clark for bringing more money and exposure to the league, urging Van Lith to show some respect. League executives knew Clark's value better than anyone. Ticket sales had skyrocketed over 300% since her draft declaration, and her merchandise accounted for nearly half of all league sales. New broadcast deals with ESPN and Amazon, quadrupling primetime exposure, were tied directly to her star power. Clark wasn't just a player, she was a one-woman economic engine. And if you think that's bad, just wait, because Van Lith's troubles were just beginning. Behind the scenes, the fallout was brutal. Reports emerged that multiple teams had passed on drafting Van Lith, wary of her attitude and potential to disrupt locker room chemistry. One scout, speaking anonymously, said she was talented but no Caitlin, and teams didn't want drama over production. The Chicago Sky took a chance on her, banking on her connection with Reese to smooth things over. But even that came with pressure. Reese had navigated her own rivalry with Clark, learning to share the spotlight. Van Lith, it seemed, was still chasing it. And the final twist? It's something no one expected. The WNBA season opener pits the Sky against Clark's Fever, and it's already the most anticipated game of the year. For Van Lith, it's a chance to prove her words weren't empty. But the pressure is crushing. Every missed shot, every turnover, every moment she's on the court will be compared to Clark's performance. Fans are already hyping Clark to drop another 40, with memes predicting a humbling for Van Lith. Her draft night comments didn't just start a feud, they set an impossible standard for a rookie yet to prove herself. And by the end of this, you'll understand why this is so important. Clark, meanwhile, remains unfazed. She's not here for the drama or the headlines. She's in the gym, as shown by her going 50 for 54 from 3 on her birthday. Her focus is on championships, not sound bites. Her rookie season set records, fastest to 100 three-pointers, most assists in an all-star game, and countless franchise milestones. She's not just a star, she's the league's future. With teams reshaping marketing plans and cities bracing for sold-out games when she's in town, Van Lith's jab may have earned her a few retweets, but Clark is earning respect. One jumper, one pass, one packed arena at a time. For Van Lith, the road ahead is steep. She didn't just pick a fight, she picked the wrong one. The WNBA isn't college, where rivalries can thrive on trash talk alone. This is a league finally gaining traction thanks to Clark's hard work and humility. By trying to tear her down, Van Lith misread the room and painted herself as the antagonist before earning the right to be a rival. Every game she plays will be a referendum on her draft night words, with fans and analysts ready to pounce on every misstep. You'll want to see this through to the end. Trust me. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. Caitlin Clark doesn't need to respond with words. Her game speaks louder than any interview could. Van Lith, on the other hand, has a lot to prove. When the Sky and Fever face off in May, the scoreboard will tell the real story. And that's where everything clicked into place. Because in the WNBA, talk is cheap, and Clark is already cashing checks with every bucket. Is the Van Lith Angel Reese matchup a threat to Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever? Let us know what you think in the comments section below.
I can't take the WNBA serious anymore. They hate their only cash cow in Caitlin Clark. This is the only league on earth where the players have dated each other. Now they find Caitlin Clark and Ryan Howard $30 apiece for just jawing at each other on the court.
The WNBA has once again revealed its double standards, this time fining Caitlin Clark for the supposed offense of defending herself in a heated moment with Atlanta Dream's Ryan Howard. In a league that says it empowers strong women, it seems that strength is only acceptable under certain circumstances, ones that shift depending on the player involved. This episode highlights the league's uneven discipline and disturbing tendency to penalize passion while turning a blind eye to deeper issues in women's basketball.
You know, there'll be the big talked about moment, Ryan Howard, Caitlin Clark, jawing back and forth. But there's another example, right? Clark in that moment saying, I'm not scared of you. No, I'm not afraid. Then giving her a sarcastic thumb.
The tension boiled over during the Indiana Fever's rematch against the Atlanta Dream, with emotions flaring as both teams fought fiercely for dominance. Just 2 days earlier, the Fever had endured a tough loss to Atlanta, and Thursday night's showdown at State Farm Arena offered a shot at redemption. With 17,044 fans filling the arena, many paying top dollar to see Caitlin Clark in action, the atmosphere was electric and primed for high-stakes drama.
What was that about, man? She was saying, don't do that again. But I'm trying to figure out why she gets so mad. I guess because of the push right there. Kind of like a get off me a little bit. But she's holding it right there. Look at the hand checking, right? We got the hand checking going on the hip. Putting it on the chest. How you hand checking? You can't hand check. This isn't the 80s. What are we doing? Hold on, man. She's hand checking right here. Then Caitlin trying to get by, right? But her hand's still there.
What unfolded was both a showcase of elite basketball and a telling snapshot of the WNBA's current political landscape. In Indiana's hard-fought 81-76 win, Caitlin Clark squared off in a tense moment with Atlanta's Ryan Howard. It was a flashpoint that would shape not only the game, but also the league's reaction to competitive intensity. The confrontation captured exactly what fans crave from top-tier athletes in a high-stakes matchup: grit, passion, and the raw emotion that makes basketball so thrilling to watch.
I just don't know what it is about giving Caitlin Clark foul calls that has the referees so averse, but calling more on her. And basketball is so mental. Like, when you get into someone's head, it can really mess the rest of their game up. It can mess the momentum up.
Howard, eager to assert control and possibly unsettle the league's most high-profile player, initiated contact that pushed past the usual limits of basketball physicality. But rather than retreat or look to the officials for help, Clark held her ground with the trademark toughness that's defined her career. In a moment that should have been praised as a display of elite competitiveness, Clark stared Howard down and delivered a line that captured her fearless spirit perfectly. "I'm not scared of you."
And in case you're wondering what Caitlin Clark said just there was, "I'm not scared of you." She's going to have to wear a hard hat this season. I mean, seriously. The league is going to try to take her out in every game.
The crowd roared in response to this raw display of competitive spirit, exactly the kind of energy that makes professional sports must-watch entertainment. This was basketball in its purest form. Two top-tier athletes pushing each other to the edge, neither backing down. It was the kind of moment that builds iconic rivalries and ignites fan passion. But in today's WNBA, standing your ground apparently comes with a cost. What followed exposed everything flawed about the league's current stance on discipline and player management. Instead of applauding Clark's intensity or acknowledging the moment as a natural part of the game, the WNBA chose to penalize her reaction to Howard's aggression. The $30 fine may be minor financially, but the message it sends is far from small. This decision raises serious questions about what the WNBA truly expects from its players. The league brands itself as a platform for strong, fearless women who won't be pushed around. Its marketing celebrates empowerment, grit, and elite-level toughness. But when one of its biggest stars demonstrates exactly that, in real time, the league responds with a fine and a quiet rebuke.
I did really enjoy seeing the return of Trash Talk Caitlin Clark, because sometimes people forget, like, it's a fun little extra add-on of her game. She and Ryan Howard got into it a bit early, where Ryan Howard was like, "You're in Atlanta," and Caitlin was like...
The timing of this punishment speaks volumes. All season long, Caitlin Clark has faced relentless physicality from opponents more focused on testing her toughness than playing clean basketball. From Angel Reese's ongoing social media jabs to the repeated hard fouls and tense encounters that have become routine for Clark, she has consistently responded with professionalism and restraint. Yet the moment she finally asserts herself, choosing words over retaliation, the league decides she's crossed some arbitrary line. This kind of selective enforcement sets a troubling precedent for how the WNBA treats competitive fire. The league seems content to let months of social media sniping, passive-aggressive comments, and orchestrated drama play out unchecked. Players are free to throw shade, post cryptic digs, and subtly chip away at each other's reputations with no pushback. But when one player delivers a direct, honest statement in the middle of a high-intensity game, that's what earns a fine.
Now fans are petitioning for the All-Star game to not be held in Indiana because it's clearly not safe. There's a petition for Dave Portnoy to never be able to attend WNBA games. There is a petition for Caitlin Clark to be arrested. I'm not joking when I say this. Arrested. This is something that has also gone viral on social media. And I'm only bringing this up because the WNBA pays attention to what's going on social media. So if they're paying attention to it, I'm following what the league is saying. Like what the precedents that the league is setting, I'm following that because I'm covering the league. If they're going to pay attention to viral things on social media, I guess we have to.
The most concerning part of this situation isn't the fine itself. It's what the fine symbolizes in the larger picture of WNBA discipline. The league has shown a clear pattern of inconsistent enforcement, where the consequences seem more influenced by which players are involved than by the nature of the incidents. This double standard creates a two-tiered system that erodes trust and sends mixed signals about what kind of behavior is actually acceptable. Take, for example, the stark difference in how the league responded to Clark's straightforward in-game exchange with Howard compared to its handling of other ongoing issues. Angel Reese has spent months waging what amounts to a sustained campaign against Clark, using social media to rehash old plays and stir up drama. Despite this being a persistent distraction, there's been no fine, no warning, and seemingly no concern from league leadership about how this behavior reflects on the WNBA. The message is loud and clear. Passive aggression, online feuds, and performative controversy are fair game. But speaking directly and competitively on the court is somehow beyond the pale. This upside-down disciplinary approach favors false harmony over real competitive edge, fostering a climate where players are subtly pushed to air grievances online instead of resolving them face-to-face, like true professionals.
$366,000 right here. Let's see if we can get a closer look at this card. It's a good-looking card. I'm not going to lie to you. Wow, that's bananas.
Did you catch that $366,000 price on Caitlin Clark's rookie card? No, that's not a mistake. Someone actually dropped more cash on her card than most people spend on a home. This isn't just a record, it's a whole new benchmark, surpassing Serena Williams' previous record for women's sports cards. So, what's the takeaway? Caitlin Clark isn't just making waves in the WNBA, she's the wave.
Let's talk about Caitlin Clark, and once again, proving that she is the driving force.
The numbers don't lie. While some might downplay her impact, that $366,000 speaks volumes, louder than any critic ever could. And wait until you hear what experts predict her cards could be worth in just a few months. It's staggering.
Once again, showcasing that when it comes to everybody else, they are a distant second. Who that is for sure in women's sports, I don't know. But at this point, it's pretty clear Caitlin Clark is driving the bus and driving the sales.
So, what's behind the jaw-dropping price tag? This isn't just any Caitlin Clark card. It's a 2024 Panini Prism WNBA Signatures Gold Vinyl Prism rookie card, graded PSA Gem Mint 10. And here's the kicker. It's a 1 of 1, the only card like it in existence.
Every time Caitlin Clark, one of her trading cards, one of her sports cards, breaks a record, and we've got a new one, and it is freaking ridiculous. I mean, this is crazier than hell. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Pause and think about that for a moment. In a world where thousands of sports cards are printed daily, this one card is completely unique. It's no surprise collectors shelled out $366,000 for it. That's not just some spare change, it's life-changing money for most people.
A new record for any women's sports card. Final sale in this 2024 Panini Prism WNBA Signatures Gold Vinyl Prism Caitlin Clark signed rookie, 1 of 1. There's only one of these in existence. It was a PSA Gem Mint 10.
Let's put this into context. Prior to Clark making her mark, the record for the highest selling women's sports card was held by tennis icon Serena Williams, with her card fetching $266,400. What's even more impressive about Serena's card is that it included a piece of her match-worn gear. Now, Clark's card, which only features her signature and a flawless card, no jersey swatch or equipment piece, shattered Serena's record by an impressive $100,000.
We had the record for a WNBA card. This passes the record for a woman's sports card period that was previously held by a Serena Williams card, and this was sold for about $100,000 more than the Serena Williams card.
What makes this even more incredible is how fast it all happened. Clark has barely finished her rookie season, yet most athletes take years, or even their entire careers, to achieve this level of value in the collector's market. But Clark? She's rewriting the playbook faster than she sinks three-pointers.
It sold for $366 freaking $1,000. I mean, wow. What can you say about this? That almost leaves me speechless.
The card itself is a masterpiece. Its gold vinyl finish glimmers in the light, giving it an almost lifelike quality. Her signature is flawlessly positioned, and the card's immaculate condition earned it the prestigious PSA 10 grade. Any collector knows that the 1 of 1 label is what sends bidding wars into overdrive at auctions.
The cost of her trading cards is, again, evidence of this. And her most recent one went for a record.
But there's something much bigger at play here. This isn't just about a beautiful basketball card. Card experts see it as something far more profound. It's about owning a piece of what many consider a pivotal moment in women's sports history. People aren't just collecting a card, they're investing in a cultural revolution.
It is a 2024 Prism Gold Vinyl Rookie 1 of 1 auto, which means it's autographed. 1 of 1 obviously means it's the only one in existence, and someone paid $366,000 for it.
Remember when Michael Jordan rookie cards skyrocketed in value? It wasn't just because they were rare. It was because people saw they were witnessing history in real time. The same thing is happening with Clark right now. Collectors aren't just betting on a rookie, they're betting on a revolution.
A new record for a female athlete. Caitlin is the needle. There we go. I think I just said that. Smashed the old record held by Serena by $100,000.
The previous owner snagged this card for $236,000 just 4 months ago. In less time than it takes most people to pay off a car loan, it surged in value by $130,000. That's not your typical appreciation, that's a financial rocket ship.
This one was $130,000 more expensive than the previous high.
What makes this card truly stand out isn't just that it's shattering price records, it's creating an entirely new market. Before Clark came along, women's sports cards barely registered on most collectors' radars. Now, they're the hottest commodity in the hobby, with dealers scrambling for inventory and collectors racing to build their Clark collections before prices soar even higher.
What is it going to be like? Look, what are these cards going to be like in 5 years when she's got a championship, a couple of MVPs in there, etc., etc.?
This meteoric rise has completely shaken up the collecting world. Shops that once tucked their WNBA boxes out of sight are now proudly showcasing them front and center. Online forums that barely acknowledged women's basketball now have entire sections dedicated to Clark cards, complete with discussions and price tracking.
I'm fairly confident we're headed towards a $500,000 card at some point. We're not that far away now. I mean, we're $140,000 away now.
Those shop owners aren't just rearranging their displays for fun. They're scrambling to keep up with history in the making. What's happening with Caitlin Clark's cards is nothing short of unprecedented. She doesn't just hold the most valuable WNBA card ever. She owns the top 30 most valuable WNBA cards in history. Let that sink in for a moment. Not just the number 1 spot, but the entire top 30. Such market dominance is unheard of in any sport, male or female.
Clark has the top 30 WNBA cards, at least. So, and the boxes for WNBA cards, like the one over my shoulder, are selling at the same level or at a higher price than NBA cards because that Caitlin Clark rookie is in there.
Clark doesn't just have the top WNBA card, she has the top 30 at least. The boxes for WNBA cards, like the one sitting right here, are now selling at the same level, if not higher, than NBA card boxes because that Caitlin Clark rookie is inside. And if you think this is just a case of collector mania, here's the real kicker. WNBA card boxes are now fetching the same prices, or even higher, than NBA boxes at many stores. This is unprecedented in sports card history. Boxes that couldn't give away a year ago are now prized treasures, with shop owners who once stashed their WNBA stock in dusty corners now showcasing them front and center. And the best part? They're still selling out within hours of hitting the shelves, breaking records as they go.
And now we get word from the coach that Angel Reese is going to have a modified role.
Did you see the chaos happening with Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky? Coach Tyler Marsh just changed the game completely by shifting the focus to Camila Cardoso, pushing Angel off balance and all the way to the bench.
And new head coach Tyler Marsh is busy installing a different vision for Chicago's offense. The Sky plan to use second-year power forward Angel Reese much differently than how she was deployed in her rookie season.
And new head coach Tyler Marsh is already implementing a new direction for Chicago's offense. The Sky had intended to use second-year power forward Angel Reese in a way that's a major departure from her rookie season role. Just like that, the Sky's hierarchy took a major hit. So long, double-double streak. Reese supporters aren't just upset, they're in full-blown revolt on social media, claiming this is a scheme to erase Angel's historic rebounding rise before it even begins in the W. Is this the fall of Reese?
Angel Reese, preseason, part 2, let's get it! What they say about layups, harder than nuclear physics. Bang! She's a point forward now, and nobody's more excited than opposing defenses. Time for the vintage underhand scoopity shot from 3 feet. Yep, there it is. Bang!
And here's where things heat up. Angel Reese hasn't been spotted at training camp since news of the change broke. The queen of stat padding is now being pushed to expand her game, hoisting mid-range jumpers despite a field goal rate of only 39.1%. Yep, that's the number. A pivot this drastic? It doesn't feel like growth. It feels like someone changed the script on her whole story. So, is this Chicago playing smart basketball or a quiet mission to fade Angel's brand?
The Chicago Sky's offense will no longer run through Kennedy Carter. Carter averaged 17.4 points per game in 2024, leading the Sky in scoring. Interesting. It should lead straight through, I believe she's 6'6"? Camila Cardoso down in the paint. That's who it should lead through. That's who it better lead through.
The news landed just days ahead of the Chicago Sky's showdown with none other than Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. And Coach Marsh? He didn't just adjust lineups, he tore up the entire plan. Angel Reese's role hasn't just changed, it's been completely overhauled. Fans are stunned as one of the WNBA's most talked about players is being shoved into a brand new mold before the season even tips off.
It sounds like they're going to pull her out further from the basket, and I wonder how her fans are going to feel about that. If she's further away from the basket, that doesn't mean there's going to be a lot of, or as many, I would believe, offensive rebound opportunities for one Angel Reese.
Let's take it back. Angel carved out her whole image by grabbing rebounds like it was a mission. From LSU to the W, her double-double streak became her signature. She turned those numbers into headlines and jersey sales. Remember her second pro game when she pulled down 19 boards against Indiana? That moment blew up online, locking in a rep as a rebounding force.
If she's not as close to the basket on offense, which she shouldn't, it should clear out the paint and underneath the basket for Camilla to be able to rebound. And we know she can hit layups. We've seen them. We've seen them over and over. I've seen plenty of videos.
But right when she thought her path was set, the Sky asked her to switch it up. Literally, they want her drifting from the paint to take mid-range shots. That's like asking Shaq to camp out at the three-point line. The very area she dominated is now off limits, and Angel's left trying to adapt, if she even wants to. Then there's the mechanics. Her shot release? It's slow, awkward. This isn't seamless. It's a square peg clashing with a round hoop while the shot clock winds down.
Chicago Sky want her to take mid-range jumpers. Okay. However, Marsh wants her to add more versatility to her shot selection by hitting mid-range jumpers 10 to 15 feet from the basket. She's working on being able to shoot off dribble, and when the play call is for a catch and shoot. Yeah, but what does that mean? Because she's... look, we've all seen videos of her practicing. She's got a very, very slow as SERP release out there. So that should be interesting against anybody that's got any kind of a wingspan.
Let's be real. Reese's shooting efficiency is, frankly, inefficient. Just 39.1% from the field. And that's mostly shots near the rim. That's not just subpar. It's a glaring red flag. Instead of refining what she does best, the coaching staff wants her to build a brand new skill set. Meanwhile, here's the kicker. As Reese is pushed out of the paint, Cardoso is being given full control of it.
And they want her to shoot more mid-range. This should be very, very interesting.
And now, they want her taking more mid-range shots. This is about to get very, very interesting. Yep, Camila Cardoso, the Brazilian phenom, has taken over Angel's old spot under the rim. The very role that launched Angel's brand and built her social clout now belongs to someone else. And the optics, not great. Camila's rise feels almost too well timed, like a polished PR move wrapped up with a marketing ribbon.
And I think Angel's really good. I think she's really good. And I just think the team would be better if, they anchored their defense around the elite defensive player and kind of ran their offense, maybe not through Camila because she's not going to pass it, but run their offense to the elite finisher.
Angel's no-show at training camp says a lot. Most pros view a new role as a chance to evolve, to grow their skill set. But Angel's response feels more like rejection. She's gone quiet, missing, brooding, maybe even plotting. Whatever it is, the message she's putting out doesn't scream teamwork or flexibility.
Per Julie Poe of the Chicago Sun-Times, Reese has yet to post up at training camp as she learns a new role for the offense. Oh, this should be very interesting. Quote, for Reese, that means adapting to a modified role that will tap into her full potential as a stretch four.
Let's be brutally real. This isn't Angel letting go of her strengths. It's her resisting growth. In today's league, having a dependable shot is the bare minimum, but she's holding firm. The Sky aren't targeting her. They're evolving with the game. A forward can't just crash the boards anymore. You've got to space the floor, generate offense, and keep the ball moving. Right now, Angel's game is stuck on loop. Rebound, put back, repeat. And when that formula's disrupted, she falters.
The McDonald's sponsoring the first ever fry cook in the WNBA. Bag work is off the dollar menu, man. What is this junk? Bag! Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And most importantly, Mother Teresa, Mother Nature, and Mother 2. I'm watching because of me too. Bag! Did you know a croissant's most important ingredient is butter? Yes, butter. Butter. Butter pecan. Bag!
The real conversation we need to be having isn't whether the coach made a bad call. That's the surface level debate, the kind that gets clicks and headlines. But dig deeper, and you'll see the real issue isn't about a single decision. It's about development. It's about potential. It's about whether Angel Reese was ever truly given the space, the guidance, and the tools to evolve into something greater, into the kind of player today's game demands. This isn't about disrespect. This isn't personal. This is about basketball at the highest level, and basketball doesn't wait. Her change in role isn't a punishment, it's a shift rooted in the direction the modern WNBA is heading. Today's game is faster, more fluid, and unforgiving. It's built on spacing, versatility, and shot making, especially from forwards. If you can't shoot, if you can't stretch the floor, if your skill set is too limited, then no matter how passionate you are, no matter how dominant you once were, the game will evolve, and it will leave you behind. So the real question isn't, was this fair to Angel Reese? The question is, was she ever set up to succeed in the first place? And going forward, can she adapt? Can she grow fast enough to reclaim her place in a league that's already moving forward without her? That's the conversation worth having.